name is Armando Jemmott, and I represent the International Traditional Karate Institute. My main objective for putting video on the internet is to be able to teach the art to many people all over the world, to be able to improve their karate. Many opportunities for people to train in different places, but unfortunately not always with the information that is correct. So I want to tell you, we're here to go over some concepts so you can look for these before you choose an instructor. And if you already chose one, you can maybe ask how it is that they arrive to this kind of principles. So here we go. First, I want to start off with an apology. I want to apologize because I'm using a uniform. Because of COVID, I am out of my area where I live, and so a friend of mine sent me this uniform and this belt. Neither one is mine, but it has a tag on it. I do not represent this organization, so I automatically apologize to all people that belong to this organization because I do not represent them. But anyway, what we're going to deal with today is maybe 2 or 3 different topics, but pretty much it's from a position of power. Because karate is about making a smaller person be able to ward off an attacker that's larger, or maybe multiple attackers. So you have to be very expeditious, you have to be effective, you have to be finishing with your technique so that you're able to dispatch that person and move to another. So anyway, I want to thank you for being here with me today, and let's get started. Okay, we're going to start from the concept that because karate is a science, we have to explain everything logically. So we'll start off with the first logic that is it's heard of, but it's not totally understood. All energy for the karate person, because we have to generate power starting from very reliable source. In the case of a stance, it's from the floor. It's called an external surface. But I could also push off the wall like you do in a swimming pool, to push off to go forward. Or like obviously like you do in track, where you push out the blocks and it drives you forward. Many people speak about the hips, but the hips is the middle of the body upward. The hips have to have something from which to generate power. So if it just loosely does hips, it's not enough. So to show you the progression of power, or at least the transfer of power, is starting from the floor. When I push the floor, there's an action in that direction, which creates an immediate and equal reaction in the other direction. So this pushing of the floor drives the hip forward and then launches the technique. So I'm using the hip as a catapult to push the floor, then it drives the hip forward, and then the hip drives the fish forward. Okay? So that concept is where we're going to start from. Everything must emanate from an external surface, primarily the floor at this point. So you must think, always thinking, when I'm going to do my technique, I must think floor first. Floor, everything takes care of itself. Floor, everything takes care of itself. Pushing. Bounces back. Like a ball against a wall, bounces back. Floor, technique goes. Okay? Same thing for any other technique. Thinking, floor. Now, this energy, you have to direct it. So it pushes opposite direction. But if you're not directing the energy forward, you might end up going upward. But because your opponent is in front of you, you want to feel you're directing the energy from the floor through the hip in a forward action. From the hip in a forward action. From the floor in a forward action. Now, if I want to change the direction, then I must think, how do I get it to transfer to another area? Like from the floor upward. From the floor upward. Through the body upward. And then the body, the hip, drives this rising blow. So all the time, you must use the floor direction. Technique goes in that direction. If I want to do the uchuke, floor, 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 then it throws the body in that direction. Okay, so all the time focus on the floor or any external surface to create an equal and opposite reaction, and utilize that and direct it to where it needs to go. Now we'll be speaking about the floor or any external surface from which to drive energy for it to bounce back, and we're able to use it on the rebound to launch technique. Okay. The same is used for movement. If I want to go forward, I can step forward, but it's a slower process. Like I spoke about the track runner in blocks. If I push the floor, it's quicker because I'm able to use the leg to drive the pelvis forward. Okay, I'm able to use the leg to drive the energy forward. Now, very important part of this equation are the toes. The toes have to grip like track shoes, like cleats, so that I'm not slipping when I decide I'm going to move. So it gives me the optimum grip, so that I know that where I'm at is reliable. And I have this coil so that I'm able to then spring into technique. Feeling coiled so I can spring into technique. Or coil, toes gripping so I can spring into technique. You have to be constantly thinking, is everything charged up back here so I can then move into technique? Okay, so you have to constantly try to be thinking all the time, am I charged? For driving technique as well as for movement. Same thing for movement. If I'm gonna go forward, if I were to do a kata here, I wanna move to the side, I wanna shift, I push off this leg. Instead of moving like this, or moving like this, then I would just push into the technique, shifting into the technique, shifting into the technique, utilizing, feeling into the technique. Here, here, here. All the time shifting into the technique. So even for movement, and of course for impact. So I hope you're able to enjoy this video and try to understand the concept that I'm speaking about. I'll be putting out other videos and maybe about different topics, but I want it to be as close to clear as possible for people that have never really taken karate before, to be able to see the logic in what I'm speaking about and try to find that logic in whatever school you choose to be a member of. So think, okay, that this is an experiment. You're playing around with things, but you're looking for the logic so you're able to make better choices in the schools that you go to. I want to thank you. I'm here in my students, in the back of my students' home here at COVID, wearing somebody else's uniform and in the backyard. But we're trying to make the best of it because we still have to continue training. For those of you who are training already, I want to congratulate you, and I hope that you're able to extract something of value from this instruction we got today. I want to thank you, and we'll see each other later, real soon.